What's going on, everybody? I'm Blitz5, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the skill-based ratings test in PUBG Labs, which has officially come to an end on PC and console. If you opted into the testing, you now have 1 week to log in and see your final score. PUBG has also included a 3-question survey, which I recommend filling out because this data will help PUBG improve this system. And according to PUBG, we will most likely see this come back in a round 2 of testing, and then hopefully eventually see this headed to the live server in some capacity. In the background, I got some squad gameplay on Vikendi, celebrating my buddy Cypher5's birthday back in November. Coincidentally, when the PUBG Labs skill-based rating launched. And let's go over kind of the basis of what this is. So if you're not familiar with PUBG Labs, this has been a relatively new addition to the game where PUBG can test out new features directly on the live version of the game. It's got some mixed feedback, but personally to me, I think this is a great way to test things out. Not everybody downloads the PTS or reads the patch notes and updates. So this is something right in people's faces. If you want to opt in and test it out, you can. They also use this for the glider plane, but unfortunately, we weren't able to test this yet on console. But getting back to PUBG Labs, this is something, or the skill-based rating, this is something that I've been looking forward to seeing in PUBG for really since I first started playing, and I hope that eventually this can be implemented with some kind of ranked mode. I feel like ultimately, kind of skipping ahead here a little bit, that this is something that needs to be tied to a ranked mode and not to just the normal playlist, but this works because it's just like an alpha test of the skill-based rating. But at the end of the day, I don't think I want my stats being tracked in the normal playlist because I play with random people all of the time, and if I want my stats tracked, I would at least want the option to say, okay, I want maybe this game tracked and maybe not the next game, depending on who I'm playing with or just how I'm feeling on that day. There's some days where you want to play competitive. There's other days when you just want to run around with a crossbow and have some laughs with your friends. So let's get into the skill-based rating system. There are 6 different tiers starting off with bronze. So you have bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and master. Bronze starts off at anything less than 1500 RP. And then once you hit 1500 RP, you move into silver. Every 500 after that, you move into a different category. So then you would go into gold, platinum, so on and so forth. And then finally here we have master, which starts you off at anything over 3500 RP. To receive an initial rank, you need to play at least 5 placement matches in each of the individual playlists, so solos, duos, or squads, and this also counts for TPP and FPP. So taking a look at my stats, you can tell I spent a lot of time in squads in Season 5, and I did this on purpose because in previous seasons I wasn't able to hit Survivor because I spent too much time in the other playlists like solos and duos, and I also wanted to see how long it would take me to get into the master rank. Luckily for me, I had one of my best seasons so far statistically with over a 20% win rate, and so far I already have over 135 wins in Season 5. After PUBG changed the point system from maximum of 27 points to 100, I manually tracked my statistics for 27 games and I averaged around 32 points while I climbed to master. With the new point system capping out at 100, it was common for me to receive negative points if I had a bad game, especially in the higher tiers. And unfortunately, I don't remember if you could receive negative points when the system first came out and was based off the 27-point scale. When the system launched, I did a 9-hour stream to see how far I could get. I didn't think of the idea of tracking my stats until after the placement matches, but I did record a decent amount of stats. First game I played after my placement in high gold, I got first place with 5 kills and 700 damage. Solid game, and I received the max amount of points, which was 27. Then I got second place with 3 kills and almost 500 damage and also received 27 points. And then to compare that to a 10th place game that I got, so 10th place, I got 9 kills, forgot to track my damage here, and I also received 27 points. And then if you go to the game before that, I got 4th place with 6 kills, 500 damage, and received 27 points. So there was a lot of different ways to hit the max rank here, and I don't think that my 10th place game should have received me the max amount of points, even though I did have 9 kills. 9 kills is a lot, but it's not an insane amount of kills. I don't know. I feel like 27 points wasn't enough to really range different games. So PUBG was actually pretty quick in responding to the player feedback about this, and about a week or 2 later, they moved the cap from 27 to 100, which obviously a 0 to 100 scale makes it a lot easier for them to assign points for different playstyles and different ranks, especially if you're playing in solos because you can literally rank anywhere from 1 to 100 if there's 100 people in the game. And I think this was a good improvement, but when you think about this system as a whole and trying to implement this into a game, I was thinking about what would I do if I was working at PUBG and I wanted to implement a skill-based rating system into the game. It's very complicated and convoluted because there's so many ways to rank it. There's so many different tiers. How fast do you want people to level up? What percentage of the players do you want to be in each category? So I'm going to get into all that in a second. I actually pulled some Twitter users and people in my stream to see where they ended up ranking out in the skill-based rating. But I also want to go over kind of my progression through the stats here. So like I mentioned before, I started off in high gold. I made it into platinum, into diamond, into master rank. And obviously after each game, it's hard to compare because you are being ranked and placed against the other people that have also opted in your match. So say for example, there's a lot of high tier players in your match, you'll get more kills or more points for getting more kills and placing higher. Or if you get first with 5 kills and the people that are in your match were ranked very low, say in the bottom tier, which is silver, you might not get as many points. So it's really hard to compare here, especially as you move up. And one of the obvious things that I noticed is as I moved up, I was getting a lot less points for kills and placement, and I was getting punished for having some mediocre games. So once I made it all the way to the master rank, I placed in 24th place. So that's basically last in squads, but I did get 3 kills and I ended up with -6 points. So in the past here, when I placed really high, like 20th place and got a kill or 2, I would actually get points. So in master rank, I was missing a lot of points. And then what's interesting here in comparison, I had another game where I came in last place. I got 0 kills, but I did get 2 knocks and I was able to do 154 damage before I died. And I received -22 points, which was the most that I tracked when I was playing. And I think I found out that if you just hot drop and die off the bat, you normally receive somewhere in the -20s when you're in these higher categories like diamond and master rank. But what's interesting here is that this shows how important the kills are in this system, because in the other game I placed last, I got 3 kills and 150 damage, and I only lost -6 points. So even though I did 4 more damage in the game with 0 kills, I lost way more points. And I really feel like this should be more tracked on your knocks and damage because this really incentivized people thirsting. And in this season, I was thirsting like crazy when I was climbing from gold to master because I didn't want to lose points, because I quickly figured out that if you don't get the kill, you just don't get that many points. And to me, that's unfortunate because it changed my playstyle completely. And I was pulling some other people on the stream and they said they were doing the same thing when they were trying to move up their rank. They were immediately going for the thirst because they weren't receiving any points for the knock. So I think that pretty much covers the basics of leveling up from silver to master rank and the different point system and initial thoughts on that. I don't know if I actually received 100 points once they changed the cap from 27 to 100. I have a memory of being really happy one time when I had a 13 or 14 kill game and got 100 points, but I didn't track it, so I can't say that's for sure. But the most amount of points I received here that I tracked in my Excel sheet was 83 points. When I was in diamond, I got first place with 9 kills and did 1,300 damage. So I'm not sure what made me miss out on the 17 additional points. I'm guessing that maybe the players in that match weren't that great, or maybe I needed to secure the 10th kill to get the extra 17 points. So next I want to talk about the 3 biggest issues I have with this new rating system. The first I've hinted at a few times in this video already, and that is the heavy focus on kills versus knocks and damage. And this is kind of confusing to me because PUBG recently has come out and said that they want to incentivize players not to thirst the enemy. But with this system, it was the complete opposite. You didn't get any points unless you did thirst the enemy. So I was doing that a lot in Season 5, and I would really like to see them take into account damage and knocks into the system more. But unfortunately, you don't know any unintended consequences of what's going to happen if they were to switch the system. I was trying to think maybe players would just keep knocking the enemy over and over again and let them get revived, or do some kind of damage manipulation where they're just shooting everybody and not really knocking anybody if they made it only damage based. But players are always going to manipulate the system no matter what you do. I feel like it would be a lot more fair if they were able to factor this in to the overall point system in a better way. And then second, it seems like kills after death aren't being tracked properly in the game. And I think this is more of a game issue rather than just the skill-based rating issue, but nonetheless, it does affect that. So for example, say you're playing in solos where you insta-die, you don't get knocked or anything like that. Say you throw a grenade at an enemy and he kills you after throwing the grenade, so you're dead, you have 0 kills. The grenade comes down, kills that player, you get the kill for it, but then in the after action report, it actually shows you having 0 kills. This has happened a lot to me and other people in the stream. And then that also affects your skill-based rating because then PUBG is going to assign you a rating based off having 0 kills when you actually ended up with 1. And then lastly, again, this is just a personal opinion of mine, but I feel like it was too easy to level up once you got ranked in the system, and that there wasn't enough punishment for playing poorly in the game. And I also think the climb to the higher ranks like Diamond and Master should have taken a little bit longer. It was fairly quick for me to reach the Master rank, and I'd also like to see more players in the bottom tiers like Gold, Silver, and Bronze. With that being said, I feel like it's a good time now to look at the poll results from Twitter and YouTube. So only about 30 to 40 people answered in on both of these polls individually, so roughly 80 players, and some of them might have been the same. But we'll start with the Twitter poll first. So the question I posed was, what was the highest rank you received in the rating system? And I only had 4 options, so I put in Master, Diamond, Platinum, and Gold and below. So 21% of people ended up in Master, 36%, which was the highest, ended up in Diamond, 21% in Platinum, and Gold and below was 22%. So what's interesting here, other than the Diamond, everything was pretty much evenly distributed. But the point here is that Gold and below, which is 3 categories, received the similar rating in the low 20s. So really that shows me that there's not enough players in those categories, which I mentioned before. And then going to the PUBG YouTube poll, same question, but this time I added in a 5th answer here that said did not opt in or play, because I know not everybody opted in. So we had way less people in Master and Diamond. So Master at 12%, Diamond 10%, Platinum with the majority of the votes with 37%, Gold and below 25%, and then did not opt in or play PUBG this season 15%. So obviously PUBG has all this data. I'm not going to solve any problems with them by doing this poll. I just thought it'd be fun to include it into the video. But just from the initial findings, with just roughly 80 people that voted, again, it seems like too many people are in the Master tier, and that they probably need bigger punishments for playing poorly once you're in the higher ranks. And after looking at all this data, I thought it'd be interesting to compare this to League of Legends, because they pretty much changed the game for esports and competitive play. I used to play this game on PC, and they have a great ranking system, so fairly similar to PUBG. They have a lot more categories, though. Counting it up right here, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 categories versus PUBG's 6. And in their uppermost categories, they have Diamond, Master, but then Grandmaster and Challenger. In those top tiers, in Grandmaster, there is only 0.04% of the player base is there. In Challenger, it's only 0.02% of the player base, and most of the player base is in between Bronze, Silver, and Gold. So definitely be interesting to see PUBG put out these statistics. I just think they need to probably widen the amount of tiers. And then also what League of Legends has, which I think is really awesome, is as you play, you earn points, and then to move up into another category, you have to play a promotion series. I forget exactly how this works, but from my memory, you might have to win like 2 out of your next 3 games to make it into the next series, or earn a certain amount of points to make it in. And if you don't, then you drop back down. So for example, if you're in Gold and you're trying to move into Platinum, you reach the top of Gold, they say, now you've entered your promotion series, you need to play well in these next 3 games, and if you don't, you'll go back into Gold. If you play well, then you'll move into Platinum. And that's something that makes those games even more competitive. I mean, when you're playing ranked, it's very competitive, but those promotion series games, it really had you on edge because you needed to play well in order to go up, and also kind of slowed people's progression from ranking up a little bit, and also kind of found out that maybe you are more of a Gold player and that you need to improve your skills before you go back into the promotion series to move it up to Platinum. So just an idea here. I think PUBG is just working with what they got right now, and of course this depends on how many people opt in, the player base, what the future holds for PUBG. Who knows? There's a lot of uncertainty, and like I said, this is a pretty big undertaking. There's a lot of data, information here, and planning. So kudos to PUBG for getting this done in its first form, and I'm very excited to see this in its second form, and I hope this eventually goes live in some capacity. Maybe if there's not enough room to add in a ranked playlist, they can just make it where you can turn it on and off from game to game. And I feel like that would make it a little bit more accessible, or more user-friendly for all the players out there, including myself. So as always, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you found the video entertaining at all, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already for a ton of PUBG and other video game related content on my channel. And of course, I stream here live daily during the week, Monday through Friday, right on YouTube. So as always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.